بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم انكدرت وإذا الجبال سيرت وإذا العشار عطلت وإذا الوحوش حشرت وإذا البحار سجرت وإذا النفوس زوجت وإذا الموءودة سئلت بأي ذنب قتلت وإذا الصحف نشرت وإذا السماء كشطت وإذا الجحيم سعرت وإذا الجنة أزلفت علمت نفس ما أحضرت فلا أقسم بالخنس الجوار الكنس والليل إذا عسعس والصبح إذا تنفس إنه لقول رسول كريم ذي قوة عند ذي العرش مكين مطاع ثم أمين وما صاحبكم بمجنون ولقد رآه بالأفق المبين وما هو على الغيب بضنين وما هو بقول شيطان رجيم فأين تذهبون إن هو إلا ذكر للعالمين لمن شاء منكم أن يستقيم وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين.
Hey, what's up? Let me know if y'all can hear me. I don't know, the Asiatic, what's happening? What's up, y'all? Let me know if y'all can hear me. My apologies for the tardiness, wrapping up some business. Yeah, just wrapping up some business. You know, learning how not to gloat and tell all my business so much. You know, I just be wanting people to get it, you know what I mean? But this made a nice little play, you know what I mean? Nice little play. You know what I mean? But y'all can hear me? Justin, what up? Let me know, man. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Give me a mic check confirmation so we can get this party started. And click the like button if you can. Please click the like button. Even when you come back on the recording, which majority of the people do, please click the like button. It's going to be a great conversation. Thank you, Truth Porter. Great conversation. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. Sallallahu ala Khadijah. Sallallahu ala Fatima. Sallallahu ala Ali. Sallallahu ala al-Bayt. Right? So, Sufis in the Quran. Yeah, that's today's conversation. Sufis in the Quran. Yeah. Are they in the Quran? Are the mystics in the Quran? Sufi, yes. So in Arabic, they say, hey, the Sufis go by a term called tasawwuf. But the root word is suf. Okay, hence the word Sufi. So you hear the term called tasawwuf. Okay. Now, the Sufis are, you think of Sufis, you probably think of Rumi whirling around the whirling dervishes and whatnot. Yeah, that's just one aspect of it. But the Sufis, there's plenty of Sufis who don't whirl. There's Sufis who don't even zikr. They do quiet reflection, meditation, introspection, observation is more of their thing versus being out loud and some mixed, and blended and whatnot. But the core of the Sufi is to penetrate the inner hidden esoteric layers of Qur'an to come to the true understanding of the text. Okay, so in essence, that's what that group of people do. But they play by the Sharia, they play by the outer law because it's Islam. They just have an understanding that when you look at the Quran, Allah says He is the hidden and He's the manifest. He's batin and He's zahir. He's both of these things. And so the Sufi, knowing this, the Sufi endeavors to be in communion by piercing that veil and becoming close to Allah, or becoming consumed. That's really the word, becoming consumed with the oneness of Allah. And you get there through, woohoo, get ready. I'll save it for the end. So that's possible, okay? So historically known as what? The wanderers. Okay, they're historically known as the ones who wrap themselves up in wool, because they say that the word suf means wool. And so to protect themselves from the desert heat, they would wrap themselves in wool. Okay. All right. So remember, the Sufis are wanderers. All right. So let's go to the Quran. Let's blow it up here. We're going to Surah 16, which is the B. Oh, it is Surah 16 that reveals the Sufi. And Sufi is only said one time in Quran. And here it is under the guise of wool. Hence, they say the Sufis wear wool. What do they have to say about the Sufi? And Allah has made you, or made for you, from your homes a place to rest, and made for you from the hides of the animals, tents, which you find light on your day of travel. So you got animal skins and you about to travel. Okay, so you're packing up your tent. Your tent is made light for you. It's not heavy. And your day of encampment, okay, travel, and for you to set up a camp. And from their wool, fur, and hair is furnishing and enjoyment for a time. So here again, the word for wool is suf, but the only time Sufi is used in the entire Quran period, they're talking about packing up the animal skins because you are going to travel. But that's exactly what the Sufi is known for, right? Wandering mystics, traveling on the path. Ooh, we're going to get into that, okay? So this definition alone to explain Sufi, right? Packing it up, traveling, okay? All right, let's get into some things. When we look at the word suf, that is what? That is their wool. So it's spelled Sod, W-F, like S-W-F. That W sometimes take on the U sound. So suf, okay? Wool. All right. So now the Abjad value for suf is 176. Okay? Mark that. 176. Today going to be a short, powerful. It's going to be a short lesson today, but powerful. Okay? So 176 is the numerical value for suf. All right? Let's bring this in. Now, travel. The word travel here, za, ein, nun. Okay? Now, it is only mentioned one time in the Quran. Once. And the reason why I have this here is because this type of travel that they're talking about isn't the same type of travel that's talked about in the Quran and other places. This type of travel is a special type of travel. It's a travel only for the mystic. Okay? That's why this form of travel is only here once. Okay? I'll show you. So what is a Sufi order called? A Sufi order is known as tariqas, known as paths. Okay. You got to be on my Sunday class to get the mystical meaning of what that is. I'm quite sure I've said it in my videos, but you got to go back and find it. Okay. So all Sufi orders are known as a tariqah. Interesting. But a tariqah means a path. Okay. A Sufi is someone that is wandering on the path, right? But notice the path that is on, it's not going to be the tariqah path. It's a different type of path. Okay. I just wanted to show you this. A Sufi is on the path. What I'm about to show you is the Quran links concepts together through synonyms. Okay. So words that will have the same meaning, but a total different name. This one says path, this one says road, but both of it means this thing that we can drive on or walk on. Okay. So two totally different names, but same meanings. Okay. So the Quran links things together through synonyms. Okay. All right. So remember this. Sufi path is a tariqah. It means path. Okay. All right. Let's come inside of this. Let's look at this here. Well, there's something called a path, a road, the way of Allah, the wayfarer, which is a traveler. Okay. And the word here is Sibyl. Sad, Ba, Lam, SBL, Sibyl. Okay. And it means the way. Sort of like the Tao means the way. Okay. So the way of Allah, or a wayfarer, a traveler. And here's how traveler is used here. Okay. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces toward the east or the west, but righteousness is one who believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the book, and the prophets, and gives wealth in spite of love for it to relatives, to orphans, the needy, the traveler, and those who ask for help, and for freeing of the slaves. Establish the prayer and give zakat, and keeps on going. Okay. So here we have a word for traveler. Okay. The traveler, which is known as the wayfarer. Okay. This traveler is not the same as when they said to travel. Okay. Because it's a total different word. Zan. Za, Ein, Nun, like Z-A-N, Zan. Okay. Okay. So now we get a total different word that's connected, because remember they said Zan when they getting ready for their travel, right? They're getting ready for their travel, that Zan, but then we see, okay, but you can only travel on what? A path. Okay. But when we come to a path, I'm just introducing something to you and I'm gonna link it together. This is one of the words for a path or a way. Now, notice that the word is Sibyl. Now, got to pay close attention, because remember in Fatiha, we say Siratul Mustaqim. I mean, it's like, oh, Allah guide us on the straight path. Sirat is path. Mustaqim, we say is straight. Okay, so Siratul, when we hear that in Fatiha, Sirat ladina Sirat, that's the path, right? But this path that you see on the screen, Sibyl, that's not Sirat either. You see? So the Quran in the beginning introduces you to this type of path, but it's another word for path that's in Quran as well. Okay? Let's tie it together for them. All right, we did that. All right. Well, when we look at the way in the path, how many times do it show up in the Quran? It shows up 176 times. So what did you see, ladies and gentlemen? The numerical value for Sufi is 176. Wallahi, Suf. It was 176 on the left. But the occurrences of the path, Sibyl, is 176. See, Allahu Akbar. I got to write that down. Let me write that down. I didn't know Sufi was in the Quran on the path. I just found that today when I was studying, right? Told you I get a little revelation that it come here and tell me. All right, hold on. Sufi. Okay. All right. And this is the beauty about Quran. This is what I'm saying. See, they tell us that Allah is all knowing and all wise. That's what we hear. That's what we read. Allah knows everything in the heavens and the earth. Some say he knows everything between the heavens and the earth, even the space in between, know everything. So then that means Allah has a knowledge of the mystics are going to create a numerical system to give the alphabet a numerical value. Aleph is 1, Ba is 2, Jim is 3, Dal 4, and so forth and so forth. Okay? So then when we come across Sufi, whose the whole job is to wander the path, Sufi value is the same or matches the amount of times the path is mentioned. These are two totally different things. We're talking about a value of a letter and then the occurrences of this in the Quran. You see that? They match. Okay? And see, now the Quran starts to weave a beautiful story from numerical patterns. The Quran says this is an enumerated book, a book numbered, okay? An enumerated book. But we're not going to be able to figure out the story unless you have the cipher. And the master key to Quran is the alphabet. You mastering the alphabet is the master key to Quran, and then you being diligent enough to do the study and make the notes. Because guess what? As of now, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a book that we could buy that shows us what the numerical value of every single word in the Quran is. Every single word. What's the value? It's Abjad value. And then how many times was that said in Quran, this book together, so we can make a correlation? So in other words, there's no encyclopedia we can go to and look at the number 176. And when we look at 176, we should be able to see, oh, Suf is the numerical value of 76, but also the number of times that Sibyl pops up, which means path. That should be an entry if we created a numerical dictionary or a numerical encyclopedia. Okay? It's not over here yet in this system. So this is why I be stressing when you study, especially my Sunday class, hey, don't sleep on this. I showed them something mind-blowing on Tuesday's class, that showed a connection between prayer and Satan, okay? And some other stuff as well, all right? The true meaning of Quran, which I'm not going to get into, all right? That may actually be part 2 of something else that I alluded to, okay? So a beautiful, profound study. So let's keep going, okay? So Sibyl is path. And when you hear Sibyl, it makes you think of the Sibyls, right? Which were women who were oracles. They were, some may say, prophetess or seers, right? The seers, okay? So it makes us think of that when you hear the word Sibyl. I said, that's interesting. Is there possibly a connection, even though Sibyl is Greek and we in the Arabic dealing with a path, is there a connection between these though? Is there? Let's see. So what do we have here? When we look at the word for travel, because only the Sufi is traveling this way. Remember that, right? Zan. It was Zah, Ein, Nun. What do it say? A woman traveling in a litter, woman traveling in a group. a woman in such a sedan. The woman, the chair on the camel, that's for the woman. You did? Yes? So the Sufi in the Sibyl is the path, but traveling, that word for travel, literally equates to a woman who is on a camel. Y'all ain't ready for these mysteries. Y'all ain't, with Allah is the mother of the book. I keep saying it. I keep proving it. I've shown so much feminine essence in Quran that it needs to be studied. It needs to be studied thoroughly too. Which one of the definitions for Quran is to study, to investigate. Actually, it means to study thoroughly and to investigate. Okay. So here it is. Sibyl is a path, but the travel, the word zan, because you travel on the path, zan said one time in Quran literally means to the seat of this, the feminine seat on a camel when she's traveling in a caravan. Because this form of travel, ladies and gentlemen, is the travel for the caravan, the mystics, sort of like a circus in a sense. They're here today, they're gone tomorrow because they're wandering mystics. So it's not the kind of travel to say, hey, go to the store and come back. It's not that kind of travel. It's a special spiritual travel. Okay. All right. So they're connected, the Sufi and the Sibyl. All right. And don't that's my title. That should be like it may be a presentation. I need to do that. I need to do that with a female. The Sufi and the Sibyl. All right. Anyway. So when we have Nafisa, Sayyida Nafisa, who has a whole masjid named after her, a whole mosque in Cairo, Egypt. Literally, you can look it up. Sayyida Nafisa Mosque in Cairo, Egypt. Look it up. This, me and her we got a thing going on, okay? The reason I have her here because I don't want, this is important. I don't want people to think this is like far-fetched metaphysical mumbo jumbo, right? You got to be able to connect the puzzle pieces. When we look at travel, and it tells you that it is it's only said once, and it's said to these wandering people. That see, this is the whole thing. The Quran is telling you that these people, hey, pack up your animal skins. We made it light for you, so when you pack up, it's not a heavy burden. And then when you set up your camp, these people are wandering people. Pack up the wool, right? And we say, oh, tasawwuf. Okay, all right, these are the Sufis because that's what they wore. But that's what they did. They was actually wandering mystics, right? So when it actually explains that and we delve into the inner text, it said, well, okay, but this form of travel it's a special travel, but it also pertains to a woman who was traveling with a group. Now, coincidence, the path, again, Sibyl sounds very synonymous, or the same word with the Greek Sibyl, which points to this woman oracle. Which, if this oracle woman from the Greek was to come into the Arabic, then she will fit inside of the Sufis. Okay? All right. But we have to understand in Islam that there are tons of female scholars, female mystics, and I just stop with scholars and mystics. So much so, some of them have masjids that you see on the screen named after them in their honor. This is a fact. So when we deal with Nafisa, Nafisa was what? Talim, teacher. Teacher of who? Imam Shafi. Teacher of Shafi. Well, who is Shafi, Noble? Well, remember, when you understand what we would call the denominations of Islam, The four light green on the left, Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, Hanbal, those four are considered the four madhabs, the four schools of Sunni fiqh, of Sunni law. All Sunni Muslims fall under their definition of how they define the do's and don'ts of Islam. The Shia fall under Jafari law, far right, a darker green. Yes, in the bottom right, Abadi, they said, you know what? At the death of Ali, they said we ain't rocking with no Sunnis who later become Sunnis. We ain't rocking with the Shia. We doing our own thing. We split off. So who are these group of people who split off? Just so I can understand. So let's get a little bit of context and history because this is important. Okay. So you got to learn how to balance all this metaphysical stuff with physical, actual stuff too, right? So at the death of Ali, right? These group of people, what they call them, the Kharjites, it was like, hey, listen, hold on, Ali, we don't like the fact that you called a truce with these people. You accepted a truce. He didn't call it. You accepted a truce. We was at war with them. We want to kill them and finish it off. I keep saying these dudes came with holding up Qur'ans in the middle of the battlefield. Ali's soldiers didn't want to fight. If your soldiers don't want to fight, you in trouble, right? So he accepted the peace treaty. The people that's fighting on the side of Ali is like, oh, that's what you're going to do? Ali is in the masjid. One of the people come in there and stab Ali and kill Ali. So at the death of Ali, they said, we doing our own thing. That's them on the bottom right. Okay, let me blow that back up for you. They say we ain't Sunni, we ain't Muslim, we do our own thing. Now, we talking about Imam Shafi, right? It's taught by Nafisa. Okay, this is a fact. Okay. Shafi, ladies and gentlemen, is considered out of the four Sunni schools on the left in dark green. He's the third one to come. Hanafi's first, Maliki second, then Shafi. Shafi's actually a student of Malik. Okay. But Shafi organized the system into what's today known as the legal methodology that everyone follows. Some type of, he gave it form and structure. Although Maliki is his teacher and older, he developed the system, chapter 1, chapter 2, that basically, and that kind of thing, right? So he's like kind of like the father of modern day fiqh, even though he got two predecessors. Okay. All right. This is important to understand. But he's going to get taught in his last days. He's going to come under the tutelage of Nafisa and actually request that she lead his janazah, his prayer, during his death funeral. Okay. He wants her to do this. Okay. Shafi studies under Maliki. Maliki, or Imam Malik, is in Medina. Who do he study from? And this is documented. No, they don't contest this. Malik studies from Jafar on the top right-hand side, which is Shia, the family of the Prophet. Hanafi, who lives in he doesn't live in Medina, right? But they say he too studied under Jafar. This is a fact. Hanbal studied from Shafi. So if you study from Shafi, then you study from basically Nafisa. Nafisa is important, ladies and gentlemen, because she comes from the lineage of Hassan, which is the first son of Ali and Fatima, the first grandson of the Prophet. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon them all. So Imam Shafi is learning directly from this woman. Okay. Now, since we got a little bit of that, because the irony is this: when you deal with Shafi and you deal with Malik and you deal with Hanbal too and Hanafi, all of them were lovers of Shia, of the Prophet's family. I showed you this before. You can go look it up. Hanafi was imprisoned by the Abbasid rulers who was killers and persecutors of the Prophet's family, and he died in prison. He got beat. Malik got beat because he issued a ruling, fatwa, a ruling that said, no, if the leader of today, just because he's the leader trying to force you into accepting it, it's not binding. He can't force you to. And they say, you said, what? Who you think you is? I'm the leader of this place, Malik. What's wrong with you? Pop! Flogging, beating. Shafi, beating. Handball, beating. Handball, they beat unconscious. He almost died. Because they say that the Quran was made up. The Muslim leadership, I need to do something on this. The Muslim leadership of Caliph, who was the Caliph, right? They wanted the top scholar of the day to say that the Quran was made up. This was Muslim leadership. See, and this is why it's important for us to understand what doctrine do we follow in Islam as far as the rules go. Because there's some of them that tell you do not use your logic. You got to read what's there and accept what's there on face value. Salafi, Wahhabism, you're not allowed to use your intellect. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay? So all roads point back to the al-Bayt. Don't let the enemy trick you. And again, I'm going to be very clear. I'm not saying be Shia. I'm just saying know the history. Know the source. Okay? All right. Let's read some words from Shafi himself. Blew my mind. Brought me to tears when I came across this weeks ago. It's called Loving the Family of the Prophet is an obligation ordained by Allah. O Prophet's household, love for you is sealed. God's bond in his Quran, as he revealed. Your glory is so great and paramount that prayers where you're not mentioned do not count. What? This is Imam Shafi, the father of organizing Sunni law, has a poem praising the Prophet's family, so much so that says, if we don't give praises to the family of the Prophet in our prayers do not count. This is Shafi. Let's keep going. Here's another poem. It's two, actually. Let's read the top. This is for the love of Ali and the sons of Fatima. If Ali's praise in groups we chance to spur, in his two sons and Fatima, the pure, we are told, good men steer clear of such a course. Such is the way that the Shia folk endorse. Before my Lord, I balk at claims of some that love for Fatimites is Shiism. Then to become Rafidi, right? A rejecter. You've turned Shiite, they claim. I say, no way. In creed and practice, I reject their sway. I take as leader from deep down inside, the best of leaders and the best of guides. The love of the teacher isn't to defect, but rather is such claims that I reject. That was beautiful. Because he said, no, I reject, no, I don't follow the way of the Shia. I love the leader. I reject the claim that you put in on me that I'm a Shia. I reject the claim. Right? Beautifully said. Right? Beautifully said. Okay? So in these two cases, we see that, three in a sense. In these poems, we see Shafi is a beautiful advocate of the Prophet family. Okay? And this is why on Tuesdays, I invite y'all to the Golden Dawah, increasing our love for intellect. Increasing our love for God through the intellect. Now, look at this verse at the very bottom. I promise you, this is in the Quran. You should never forget this. This is in 8:22. Okay. The worst of the living creatures near Allah are the deaf and the dumb, those who do not use their intellect. I said, oh my God. The worst of the living creatures near Allah are the deaf and the dumb. He actually called you a handicap. Those who do not use their intellect. Aql. That's why the name, when I first came into Islam many years ago, my name was Aqil, the intelligent, thoughtful one who uses reason. So one who doesn't use their aql, the intellect, reason. And the Quran is filled with those. Will you not use your reason? We gave you this. We showed you this. Will you not use your reason? Or this is only for certain people who use their reason? Maybe I'll get into that. So Tuesdays, I invite you to what we call the Golden Dawah, where we become closer in this knowing, in this energy field, in this consciousness of the Supreme God, through improving our intellect. But you have to be in the Patreon bare minimum. And even in Patreon, you got to let me know. Well, I'm going to post it in the Patreon. But yeah, and if you want to come into Sundays, it's a different story, right? It's a little bit more rigorous on Sundays and whatnot. But open conversation on really understanding some things. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Love to have you. Okay. All right. I told you this was going to be quick. So look, I'll show you. Let me show you an update outside real fast. It's raining, but this is today. I'll show you real quick. Things are growing. So hold on. Let me bring it up. Okay, guys, it is 5:22. You can see peaches in there. Something getting to them already. So you see peaches growing on a tree. Our potato towers are doing really well. Potatoes are sprouting really good. Potato tower is doing good, man. Our strawberries on this one is finally starting to come out. So we got strawberries. We about to get ready to move in phase 2 and build our greenhouse. That cabbage on the end is growing. That's cilantro. Did you know cilantro turns into like coriander, the seeds and whatnot? So a lot of mint. You get over here to the blueberries real quick. They're starting to blossom, as you can see. So phase 2 is we about to do the greenhouse and paint the deck. We don't know if we're gonna do a greenhouse right here in this area or move this over here, over there on the side of the deck and put a greenhouse right here. Don't know yet, but that's what we about to do. So your love and support is greatly appreciated. And last but not least, we actually got some cherry tomatoes starting to bud. I don't know if you can see that. You can see that cherry tomato. There it is. That's my daughter's. I don't like tomatoes unless they sun-dried tomatoes. But that's what we doing. Basil popping. But your support helps us build this homestead. The Golden Heart Love Center. Peace. Okay. So things are growing. Like I said in the video, we about to move to phase 2. I called my guy yesterday. Like, you ready? And he's like, man, I'm in. He's Spanish. He's like, I'm in Niagara Falls. I was like, what? He's like, beautiful. He said he'd be back Sunday. So alhamdulillah, that's great, man. So but yeah, we about to get ready to move to phase 2 and build this greenhouse out. I'm gonna do a lot of herbal teas in there is really the thing, along with some food, of course, right? And then paint this deck as well, and then put this wall up right here and separate this part and make this a totally built out office from right here. So just moving and grooving, man. So your support is greatly appreciated. And the correct Cash App, which has always been on the ticker, that's scrolling at the bottom, but I had the flyer wrong and whatnot. But it's Golden Heart Love CTR Center, CTR, and you will see a gold heart on it. Okay. So Golden Heart Love CTR is it. Okay. Now, anybody got any questions? Anything? You want to have a conversation real quick? I said I was gonna make this super quick. Sufis, man. Sufis in the Quran. It's right there in front of our face. You know what I mean? And the path is the Sibyl. And the path is really, in truth, it's learning how to, we got to bridge the polarity, because the magic of Allah, the unification of Allah, is, in my opinion, is best personified when the male and female poles of polarity are united. And that's a beautiful thing. You can unite them internally with self, but especially externally. Especially externally. The Quran says, and we made you, man and woman, proportioned you, man and woman, from one soul. So the Quran is clear on soulmates, right? I don't really hear Muslims talk about that a lot, because I guess they don't get into soulmates. I don't have that on my paper, but it is there. I didn't discover it. So yeah, I got me a little list. I'm on 31 now. 31 things that, you know, majority of it is things that I asked the Quran, and I've seen it. It's some things, like I said before, I have seen it, and it stuck out to me, and I'm like, oh, what's this about? Hold on, let me go figure it out. And then I figured it out because it called me to it, in a sense, right? By seeing it. All right. But yeah, any questions? Anything? Let me know. Mike P, what up? Anything? I got anything? Anybody wanna? I don't know. I really like, you know, I appreciate the support. Of course I do, but I really would love for any detractors, you know, to hit the mic, hit the mic and mic up. If you're in opposition, you're in disagreement with something, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want to talk about it, because that's how we get to understand it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm all for it, you know, especially the ones that they disagree with the reincarnation in the female series and stuff. I'm all for it, you know. So as I said, I will drop the link. The link is in the chat. You know what I mean? If you want to come up. If not, you know, I'll give it a few minutes. We can get on up out of here. I think I got the prayer audio loaded up and whatnot. Yeah, I appreciate you, Reflecto. I almost wasn't gonna make it today, but I was just in my study and whatnot. But like I said, my contractor, he wasn't able to get started today. But we about to get it popping, because I just made some things happen today. I need to really talk about divine time. Let me talk about divine time. Okay. All right. So we can talk about this for a second. I can go back. I need to go back and see when I tried to initiate. When did I first initiate this real estate transaction? Let me see. April 23rd. I'm looking at. What is this right here? Yep, April 23rd. So a month ago, I initiated a real estate transaction, and I wanted to try to take care of some things, just to take care of some immediate things and whatnot. And I wanted to happen. I thought realistically it could happen within 2 weeks. It shouldn't have been a thing. It should have happened within 2 weeks, right? But it didn't happen in 2 weeks, right? And what appears to be a delay, sometimes we have to know that it's really setting the stage for divine timing to take place, right? So sometimes we in tune with divine timing, sometimes we not, okay? And so I'm not looking at, okay, well, let it close over here next month, because that'll be astrologically better. I should, but sometimes I just don't. I just want to 2 weeks about the average time. Yeah, let's just wrap this up in 2 weeks and keep it moving, right? And so a house pops up. One of the houses pop up with mortgages against the property. Like, wait a minute, how? I already got clear title. So they saying the person who I got the house from had some mortgages that were still existing against the house. So now I need basically a letter from the last title people to identify in the new people who's going to write this policy to convey this house over with a clear title. Everything can get done. So this delay, it was just a delay. Obviously, what I thought was 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks, 2 more extra weeks. So I'm looking at it and I said, okay, I know what's happening here, right? So I had made a prediction. I had said it amongst, the community. I said by Wednesday, something, looking at my calculation, Wednesday, something to break. And then that Wednesday, I got the actual note right here. Wednesday, the 13th, last week, I got a phone call, which the breakthrough, the barrier has been resolved. All right, cool. So the barrier is resolved, but now obviously it's going to push out into this week. And so then something happened on Tuesday of this week. I get a call like, okay, we got the thing, we clear now, because they was waiting on something. So I said, cool. So when I looked at the timing of the communication, which you got to know how to do that, you look at the exact time of the communication. The constellation Leo was rising. Now, this is very important. And if we look at, you got to be in my Sundays class, I'll show you in the Quran how one of the surahs deal with fortune, but it's tied to a feminine principle. That's too tied to a woman. But the fortune of a lucky star, a rising star. This is in the Quran. What I will show you, so you be like, okay, let me see something. I'll do this. I'll show you something real quick in real time, because remind me to bookmark the rising degree. So I want to show you something in real time, just so you can say, okay, all right, the Quran is on some other stuff. Okay, because a lot of people just don't know. All right, we're gonna go to this surah. We're gonna go to this right here. Okay. And let me go to where's my screen to make sure you can see my screen. Nope. All right, hold on. Let me remove this. Hold on. And wait a minute, hold on, y'all. I gotta come back and share this tab. Hold on. We're gonna share this tab. Yep. Let me make sure we're sharing it. There we go. All right, cool. I'm going to take you to, maybe it's the very last surah, Nas, which is known as the protecting surah. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind, the King of mankind, the God of mankind, from the evil whisperers of the one who withdraws. Right here. I'm going to blow this up. This word only appears 2 times in the Quran, and guess what the other definition of? Now, mind you, they saying we're seeking refuge from the evil whisperer. You see this? We're trying to get away from the evil whisperer. You know who the evil freaking whisperer is? Here it is right here. The other time you see it, what does this say, ladies and gentlemen? A retreating planet. Okay? Okay. But see, you don't hear that in Islam. You don't hear that teaching, right? Let me stop sharing. Okay? So now that has been established, okay, the evil whisperer for some reason is synonymous with a retreating planet. Trust when I tell you that there is a planet of fortune and wealth, lucky star, all that is in Quran, okay? All of that's there. So anyway, back to my story of reality. So when they shoot me the communication, I look at the time, a certain degree of Leo is rising. And I said, I know what that is. That's actually my second house, which is my money house. Leo falls within my finances. Okay. So that's my finance space, known as the money moon. okay? Known as the money moon. So today, right? Today, since everything is concluded, wallahi, I ain't got to lie, it was the money moon. And today, when I checked my account at what time? 12:13. When I checked my account at 12:13 today, a little over an hour ago, everything was official. That's why I was late starting the call, because I was on the phone talking to my guy, the buyer, and we was having a conversation. Right now, when I bring you here, hold on. Let me see, where is it at? Let me bring you to this part right here. And let me share this. Boom. Where's the moon at today? 22 degrees Leo. Okay. All right. So it's a fact that on the Patreon, what do I have? Do I not have who's here to get the monthly? Justin is here. Every month I highlight a report and I call it the money moon, because there's a time of the month where the moon is going through your money house. Wallahi, I ain't got a lie. It's called the moon in the second house. You can just Google that, right? Moon in the second house. How coincidental that it will all be concluded when the moon is in my money house. Hence, I call it the money moon, right? And so this is why I say, this is where the very last attribute of Allah, when you study the standard 99 names of Allah, the very last one is Sabor, which is patience. And I said, whoever put that there first, like put that there was ingenious, because if you put Sabor, patience, anywhere else, patience can't come before anything else, because the purpose of patience is basically to wait. So everything else has to precede it. It has to. But this is the purpose of patience, and then also understanding divine timing. Divine timing. Well, worry. I just wanted to go through, but then when I see the little, what appears to be a little side street detour, it's like, oh, okay, I know what you're doing. Every single time, listen when I tell you this, every single time, God is always at work. But this is where your antennas have to come up. This is why I say I'm a heavy contemplator on watching God closely. What's taking place, right? And say, okay, all right, we got a detour. What are you trying to say? What is it, right? That happens, okay? And then you definitely got to learn how to differentiate between what me and Jew call not being an extra in somebody's movie, when things could be going down, quote unquote, what we would call the bad side of the ledger. The bull crap start popping off in a sense, right? And so you gotta, that's why I say when you have to redirect course, it wasn't in your plan, so it's just this pop up, hey, can you come pick me up? And you about to go out your way. That is the moment you absolutely better invoke your holy guardian angels, God, prophets, whatever it is that you do. Because see, you minding your business. We minding our business, not knowing that we about to get pulled into a whole different direction. So we need to be clear on, hey, to the best of my ability. All right, let's be on it. Okay, that's important. Very important to understand. Okay, very important to understand. I can't stress that enough, man, because I be looking at, as an observer, I look at situations where I was reading up on a childhood friend, and their brother had went to the beach and got pulled in by a rip current, a current that flows under, and drowned, right? And it's like, yo, death calls you, and it's inevitable, right? But it calls you. And I'm of the school of thought that, see, it comes down, we was having this conversation in class on Tuesday, back to free will and destiny. And the Quran speaks of both, right? And so how can both exist at the same time? And I said, just run with this. Ponder this. I want y'all to ponder this throughout the week. Okay. What if the outcomes of your choices is destiny? It's already done. If you choose the choice. See, if you go into real estate, this is what's going to become of you, which you do over here. The outcome is already done, but you don't have to go through the real estate door. If you go through this door over here, this is what's going to happen. So the outcomes are done, but you get to choose the door to go through. What if that's the caveat here, the little balance point of both existing, the oxymoron, coexisting? So even though you're not going to duck the result, you have to be as conscientious as possible to at least be aware of the choice that you're going through. This the door I'm going through? Okay. All right. Now, it's plenty of studies that show how prayer affects DNA, how prayer affects reality. And then we got plenty of mystical stories about prayer and intercession coming in. So all I'm saying is when that detour pops up, pray up. Okay? Pray up. Okay? All right. I conclude, man. Appreciate y'all. Again, if you can, come over to the Patreon. Love to have you. Man, listen, pop on in on this. Pop in on this. With this is the Tuesday. I got something planned for Tuesdays that for me, I just think is going to be very loving. It's like, for example, I'll just flat out tell you, right? This Tuesday, and those of you in Sunday class, y'all better have some. I'm gonna email y'all too, because it's something I want y'all to have for Sunday. What I've been studying all week is this one particular saying. And it goes like this. Women are in need of shelter. So house them. Some of them are afflicted with contrariness. Restrain it with forbearance and silence. All week. I said, I'm not reading no other. And when I tell you how thick, because it's single-sided, how much wisdom, and this ain't even touching. Islam is deep, man. This ain't touching nothing. This ain't even the surface, nowhere near the surface of the depth of Islam. I said, I'm not reading nothing else until I can recall it from memory, but memory of the heart. But most importantly, sit on it, internalize it, because I now need to know how to. The reason it sticks out is because how do you deal with the situation? Because what did it say? It says some women are afflicted with what? What was the word that they used? The word that they used was, what's the word? I've got the thing on word. It say women are in need of shelter. So house them, because some of them are afflicted with what? What's the word I just said that fast? Because I'll be like, hold on. It really means opposition is what it means, right? Contrariness, that's the word, to the contrary. So women are afflicted with, some women are afflicted with contrariness, meaning they're just going to oppose you to oppose you. This is what they say, right? And I say, ain't that a B? Wait a minute, hold on. So in the context of the story, some of them need houses. The house. They in need for the house, you got housing. But then they're going to oppose you just to oppose you. So the way that you beat that, though, is, if you can identify that, is forbearance and silence. And I said, Jew, you ain't going to like this. Because he's Gemini. Right? These air signs we want to communicate with. Hey, man, you ain't dig this, man. Check this out. Like, nah, I ain't feeling that, man. Right? I said, nah, I get it. There was a post that somebody made that said, I used to have a mental illness until I stopped arguing with women with logic. And I ain't knocking. Listen. I ain't beating up on it. They said some ladies, so this don't go to all y'all. So don't feel no type of way, please. Don't, no, right? And so I'm just looking because I'm looking at it because I'm a student of the game of life, right? And I believe love is one of the most. It is the most potent thing there is. Man and woman, the fusion of the poles is the most potent things. But our beautiful differences that the Creator endowed us with, in which we have this opposite contrast, which is really a compliment. But at times it's tough, right? It's a beautiful thing. At the same time, it's beautiful, but you know how it is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's nerve-wracking and it's beautiful at the same time, right? And it's like, how do you have the best of both worlds? So on last Saturday, I was doing some what we call readings, and she ain't gonna mind because she did the reading. So Chloe was in there. And I was like, man, relationships. I said, man, it'd be dope if you like had a duplex and like, you know, you got your side and he got his side and y'all got like a hole in the middle of the wall. Y'all can come on each other. She like, yo, that's my dream. Because I was looking at how everything was set up for her when she was born, and that would be the best type of flow for her, right? So what I'm talking about is that type of we got this thin line between love and hate type of relationship, and we got to get it right. And so in studying that's why I said, you know what, the urge of wanting to solve this issue, this sticks out to me, because sometimes as a man, how about this, you ain't got to say nothing. It may not just be worthy enough. And this is why I seen with the Prophet Islam, man, I really wholeheartedly believe when it comes to Aisha that the Prophet had mercy, and sometimes it's just best to be quiet. Sometimes it's best to show mercy versus reprimand and allow the person to grow. Sometimes, I ain't say all the time, but sometimes that the whole purpose of mercy is you have the ability to render a tough decision, but you choose not to. And that could allow a person to develop and to grow by analyzing and seeing their own, for lack of a better word, their own shortcomings, right? Their own shortcomings, you know. So it's beautiful to be like, you know, reflect those sessions in here. Reflect. Spend some time and reflect, right? And as the teacher, right? And I'm talking to you as you know, because you share. We learn from people all the time. Learning how to be quiet and allow the person to go through the experience on their own time without you force feeding them or giving them the answer per se, that's a testament to your own level of patience too. And I would dare say ego. You have to let that person develop. Now, the person asks a question, they ask a question. And yes, sometimes you can give advice where you can kind of shortcome that. But sometimes a part of the learning experience is to allow the person to have the experience and let them grow into it. And you sit there like the wise person, and then they come back around. Wallahi, I got a friend hit me up, wanted to do something, and I said, I told you that 2 years ago. They say, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm behind. I'm ready now. I told you this 2 years ago that it was going to be on. This is what time it is. This is what needs to be done. Right here. Didn't hear me then, but now 2 years. Now you want to do it 2 years later. Okay, right? Patience. and this torture. See, with somebody who's highly thinking, and I'm just saying not highly intellectual, but I got a lot of, it's called planets and air signs when you were born, right? You can tell the cosmic makeup of the individual, right? So I'm highly cerebral, highly. That's torture to know that I know I'm right, and then 2 years went past for you to come to that realization, right? Buddy, now, like, hey, what's that one thing they asked me? Do you remember what you said about man and woman being one? I said, yeah, I got two, actually 3 examples. I know what I said. They said, when you get a chance, can you send that to me? I said, so now I got to repeat myself because you stopped studying, right? I'm laughing about it. I send it to you, ain't no thing. But I want you to know, though, I got to repeat myself because you stopped studying. What? You see what I'm saying? Right? All right, man, I'm out of here. I'd love to see y'all on Tuesdays if you can. Join the Patreon. The link will be open to everyone in the Patreon to come through on Golden Dower on Tuesdays. If you can, hit that Cash App button for me. The donations is absolutely 100% goes to the upkeep of the Golden Heart Love Center and whatnot. We're going to get out of here on Adiyat. Y'all have a great, abundant, a beautiful weekend. It's wallahi, man, alhamdulillah, man. What came through and what I just did, I'm able to do some other things and take care of some business. You know what I'm saying? So alhamdulillah, may you all be blessed. May Allah approve your stations and grant you the best of this world and the world to come. All right, peace.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير